Right guys, so we've unboxed, we've seen what we've got. Obviously, we're going to put the Tritech T3 together for you. Any questions, just reach out to us and we'll help you. But this is pretty cool. We're going to do this in a way that you can actually see exactly how it all goes together. So first thing we're going to do is put everything together just finger tight. Okay, and we'll go through each step accordingly. And then what we'll do is we'll go around and we'll show you just nipping up and tightening. Then we'll take it next door, put it some water through it, flush all the oils, put it through a pressure test, fire it up and get busy. So this is going to be pretty cool. Right, let's do it. Right, so what we'll do is I'm just going to turn this side so you can actually see the fixing that way. The fixing on the hopper here, okay, just goes in this section here. So what we've got is we've got a situation. We've got an option. Okay, so what we can do is we can tighten this up and obviously the hopper be at the front. Personally, what I like is the hopper at the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it off and switch it around and I'll show you what I mean. But that's how most people do it. We like to do it slightly differently, like everything we do. Right, so what we do is now we just tighten this, and this is just finger tight. And what you'll find is the hopper will just sit nice and snug against the frame. It's got a little bit of movement. I'm going to show you a top tip, so watch out for the next video of how we obviously change the lid a little bit, and we're obviously going to change the dump hose just a fraction. Cool, so that's the hopper. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to spin it back around so you guys can see me fit the gauge and the hose and gun. Okay, so what you're going to do is take off this little red cap. I advise just putting these in a box, just keeping them safe, because if you ever have to take the hose off, this is just really nice, stops air getting into the, obviously the piston and drying it out. So first thing I want to do is take the gauge, okay, and again we're going to do everything just finger tight to start with. So we just get that on, that's it, that's finger tight. Okay, next thing is we've obviously got the hose. Whenever your braking takes, put the knife under and away from the hose. Never come down onto the hose because you could split it. Take off the red plugs again. Okay. Fix one end to the gauge. Take off the other red plug. Fix the other end, obviously, to the gun. Cool. Again, keep the red. We'll put the oil in. So what I'm going to do now is get a couple of spanners and we'll talk about actually tightening them up. Right, so what we use is, this is obviously imperial, so I'm not quite sure what the measurements are, but we find that the metric 18s and 19s work absolutely fine. So that's obviously a 19, I think that one is as well. So as you can see, when I've tightened obviously the gauge to the machine, I've tilted it back. It's just something we've learned over the years. You'll find, depending on how high you are, as tall you are, sorry, is you want to be looking down and being able to read the gauge rather than having to come down every 2 minutes onto your knees to obviously read it. It's just something we've done. Now we're going to tighten. This is obviously a 20, slightly bigger. And then what we're going to do is tighten this. We're going to have to push back on the gauge. We're just going to nip it up. Okay. When you come to the gun, you're going to need obviously 2, because what you're going to do is, let me just pull a bit more hose out. That's it. Move that out of the way. You're going to need obviously a 20 on one side and probably a 19 on the other. 20 and 20. Just nip it up. I've got to say as well, comes with a 517 as standard, but they've obviously added the other tips as well, which is pretty cool. So you get a spare 517. That's the machine all sorted. Okay, there's nothing here that you need to really go through. The only thing I'm going to do in a second is check the filters, obviously, on the manifold and the gun, see what comes as a standard. We have our own kind of set, but we'll have a look what they've done. Cool. Let's go put it, well, let's go put some water in, let's give it a flush and let's fire it up with some paint.